Hello and welcome to Forgotten Temples with myself, Mr. B. Now today you find me at Prasat Bante Khurong, and through this doorway is an absolutely fantastic temple. We're far away in the countryside and there's nothing for many a mile. But this side is truly wondrous. What we have is a compound that's walled, which is yet within another walled compound. So it's quite the elaborate site. And what we do know is it was built in the 10th century. And we even know who is responsible for this one. And that was King Jayavarman V. So join me as we go through this mystical doorway and see something truly spectacular. So let's move on in. And it's quite the, mystical sort of entrance, isn't it? We can imagine, you see the doorway here's lost its lintel, but this one here hasn't, and the next one hasn't either. Now this is going to be a little bit of a tight squeeze. So I'm going to have to go all the way down and get muddy. Now I do actually have templing jeans for this because they keep getting ripped. And we move on through yet again to our second doorway, and the ground, I've just noticed, is festooned with giant red biting ants. They are complete buggers. Now then, I'm gonna have to hold on, let me just get my leg through. There we go, that's it. And we're in the first compound, and as we scan to the right, what we can see here is this wall going round the outside edge, but then it comes in and there's another doorway here. So this is what I'm talking about, this doubled wall sort of experience, which is very much different to what is most. And we can only imagine what was here was a grand doorway or even a gateway into the inner sanctum itself. So from the grand doorway, we pan to our left. Now we have to do a little bit of reconstruction in our mind. You see this doorway here, this smaller one, with this huge wall at the back. And these stones are absolutely massive. This, of course, was a separate room. But look here, you see there, this is laterite blocks, but that is brick. And there's another room at the back there. But there's something else I wish to draw your attention to, and it's the wall of the entranceway and these windows. If you look at this, it is beautifully done. It's not like any other temple I've been to, or any that jumps to mind, because this is, it's a very mighty, meaty construction. It almost has like a fortress feel to it. It's certainly built to impress. This is no small feat. These are giant stones. So when they built this temple, not only did they add in the details, but they gave it a very solid look. But it's up here I wish to clamber on what was once a wall, because who can resist looking down into what was, a sacred ancient enclave, where most never went, which is now open to the elements. And that is that brick room at the back here. Now there's a very nasty crack going down there. And after a few more rainy seasons, that wall is definitely coming down. But the question that can only really dwell in one's mind is, if we were to walk through this doorway nigh on 1,000 years ago, what ancient treasures or holy relics would we have found in this privileged room? Now I've positioned the camera so because there's a couple of things I wish to show you here. Everything's so elegantly garnished with this lovely moss for it's the rainy season. Now what I'm clambering over here is ancient bricks. Have a look at this. There's my hand. These are mighty, mighty stones. But compared to these laterite blocks that built this wall, hopefully this gives you an idea as to how big these stones are and what a Herculean task it was in building this compound. Now there's something more I wish to show you where that last shot was taken, but I'm saving that to the end because it's quite majestic, quite magnificent in its own way. Now as we go through this ancient gateway, I'm going to call it has a bit more prominence than just a doorway, I feel. We see that it's being supported, which is a good thing. Now then, again, it's down on my knees to crawl through because the doorway is full of mud, and this is where we get to that second enclosure, and it is here that the actual temples lay. Now if I take a step to the right, we see there's 1, 2, and through there is a third. Now what we can't do anymore is get inside here. When I first came here, this scaffolding was not here. One could easily access. Admittedly, there wasn't an awful lot to see. Now, if you remember the opening shot of this video, that was the other side of this wall. And there's not really a lot to be said about these temples. You see, because they're made of brick, which we've seen earlier, they have literally fallen into dust. They have disappeared back into the earth. But if we clamber up here, we can at least, from a bird's eye view, look down into what was. And down there in that little lush green oasis once stood a god. And that's what it's all about. You see, this is where a god once stood, mighty and supreme. But now the walls fall all around him. These ancient homes to these mighty gods now stand lopsided on a debris field of their own brick. But do you remember I said there was one last treat I wish to show you? Well, this is it. This is what I wanted to show you. And to me, this is what temples are all about. It's not so much the grandeur, and on occasions it's not really the incredible history. It's this, standing in this beautiful vaulted room. It's like you're sitting in the womb of the temple. It's an absolutely splendid place to be. It will protect you from both the rain and the sun, still serving the purpose for which it was built. Just big enough for maybe one man and his friend. Could there be a more serene place? I don't think so. This is the wonders of the temples. This is the very heart and the essence of it all. Being out with nature and having a little piece of it left as the butterflies gently flit around you. I very much hope you've enjoyed this video. As always, I ask you to like, subscribe and comment. And if by chance you could help me build up this library of forgotten temples, then I would be deeply grateful. The address for that is the same as always. It's www.patreon.com/temples. As always, this is Mr. B, wishing you absolutely nothing but the very best. You take good care now.